organization, as well as the plans to make South Africa a better place for the next generation. We argue, as an organization, as a progressive organization, as the hope of the people, as a glorious movement, we argue that such an endeavor will divert attention and resources away from UAT for a comprehensive and inclusive approach to governance, emphasizing the importance of prioritizing policies that directly impact the well-being and prosperity of the citizens. We assert as an organization that a balanced and steady course of action is essential for achieving sustainable progress and ensuring sustained stability and unity of nation. Hence, you approach the most important elections, 1994, as United Africans Transformation, the light and the hope of the people. As UAT, we are passionately against Moonshot Pact, which reverses the successful programs of previous generation. We should be focusing on bringing real freedom and exuberant revolution in order to improve the lives of the people, because political freedom without economic freedom is nothing. So we expect all South Africans, we expect the generation of 2023 to be saying, that's far no further, let's join hands, let's bring real freedom, because an African man has never enjoyed freedom. Now, the pact is exceedingly it's a counter-revolutionary initiative and feeds the expression of the great Oliver Tambo, who said, in every revolution, there is a counter-revolution. And I repeat, this Moonshot Pact is a counter-revolutionary initiative. It is actually reversing the gains and the successes of the previous generation and fits the expression of the great Oliver Tambo, who said, in every revolution, there is a counter-revolution. And the Moonshot Pact is a clear demonstration of the counter-revolutionary initiative by 7 political parties. Nothing is said in the pact. Nothing is said in the pact about creating solutions that will deal with socio-economic challenges that are facing our people. Nothing is said about poverty. Nothing is said about unemployment. Nothing is said about hunger. Nothing is said about the suffering of the people of Deep Slot, where people are murdered every day. They were marching as the previous week, where people are murdered every day in Deep Slot. Nothing is said about the challenges of people of Khayelitsha, where a certain group is claiming to run the municipality professionally and effectively. But go and check the people of Khayelitsha. Nothing is said about their challenges in the Moonshot Pact. Nothing is said about the people of Hammanskraal, who died of cholera in the biggest municipality in the world. Nothing is said about it in the pact in terms of crafting solutions to ensure that the people in those areas are actually offered basic services. Nothing is said in the pact. I don't want to mention Giyani, Magurunga Mphahlele, and other areas, rural areas in our country. That's what should be guiding any new pact for South Africa, because that's exactly the mission and the challenges that are facing the 2023 political parties generation. That's what should be guiding the unity of those political parties. But nothing is said about crafting solutions to change the lives of everyone in this country. Solutions to improve the lives of the poorest of the poor, and the divide and rule thinking coined by previous regime and perpetuated by descendants. That is exactly what in the Moonshot Pact. They are not saying anything about solutions to improve the life of the poor, but instead they bring the divide and rule thinking, the old apartheid divide and rule system, where they are actually encouraging Africans not to come together and reverse the successes of the previous generation. And as the United Africans Transformation, as the hope of the people, as the light of the people, we are saying, that's far no further. Africans, open your eyes and ears so that you can realize that it is through unity of purpose that we can make South Africa a better place. We need unity, because unity is the enemy of poverty. Unity is the enemy of unemployment. Unity is the enemy of many socio-economic pathologies that are tormenting our people. Without unity, there's no way that we can be able to actually address all these socio-economic challenges. Now we are saying as UAT, open your eyes and ears. Let's come together and deal with these issues. Most of the parties which are part of the national coalition, which are part of this Moonshot Pact, don't understand the pains, the sufferings of our parents. They don't understand it. Because they wouldn't be thinking in that particular manner if they really understand what our parents fought for, what has actually happened. They don't really understand the brutal and discriminatory hand of apartheid regime orchestrated by their forefathers. Even today, it's still a struggle to have dignity as Africans because we have nothing. No land, no economy, no control of country resources, and the list is endless. The economy is still in the hands of minority. Black ownership at GSE, just go and look at it. The picture will tell you very clear that in actual fact, there's no freedom. There's no freedom. And the picture will tell you that the whole issue of transformation of socio-economic landscape of our country, as per relevant legislation, is not happening. Instead of addressing all these socio-economic challenges, the Moonshot Pact focuses on a narrow approach that certain parties need to be kept out of government. As if that in itself is a solution to the needs of the poor who are trapped in poverty across South Africa. It doesn't say anything, and I repeat, it doesn't say anything about contributing towards making South Africa a better place for all. The pact was supposed to be selling unique offerings. The pact was supposed to be saying, as a unity of purpose, as 7 political parties, these are the solutions that we believe will be able to change the lives of South Africans. The Moonshot Pact is not saying that, but instead perpetuate a very divisive mentality. In conclusion, allow me to borrow from the great man Thomas Sankara, who said, when people unite, poverty trembles, because unity is the enemy of poverty. Unity is the enemy of unemployment. Through unity, we can be able to address all socio-economic challenges that we're facing. But the 7 political parties decided to betray the mission, leave unity aside, and focus on a narrow approach of just kicking others out. Thank you. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, Dr. Mighty Mabule, for taking us through the media statement. He outlined it very well, and I'm sure all the media houses, they can't wait to understand exactly what we are about and what we stand for. So when you go to number 4 of your program, is Q&A. When you have an opportunity to ask a question, we kindly ask that you tell us your name and the media house you're coming from. To be able to be effective and manage our process well, we suggest that we take 3 questions at a go, then we answer, and then the next session we'll take more questions. So that's all about UAT and the media statement for today. Is there any question from the media house? Okay, I've noticed you, and then you will be the next one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Offense from SABC News. I just wanted to find out, in South Africa we are united in our different diversities. So as a political party that's affiliated to a Christian church, how are you going to ensure that followers of other religious denominations or spiritual denominations are actually not, what's the word?
Excluded.
Yes, they are not excluded and they are not discriminated against. Thank you so much.
Okay. Say.
I'm Aaron from Daily Southern Newspaper. I hear on your statement, the teachers you are talking about service delivery. So, if you win or you become the president or mayor or the councillors, means are you bringing to fight service delivery, give people what they want? Because as I've seen, most politicians, they will say this and this, talk loud, but when they are there is no action. So, you are, I don't know, I wanted to ask you what you are saying, that are you also the church and this party, are they aligned, are they one thing, or it's just a separate thing from the church, IPCH church?
Okay, is there any other question? Over to you.
Bongani Siziba, News Central TV, Nigeria. My question also, just from the question that my colleague just asked, what you just said, most of the political parties in South Africa have said that. What exactly are you bringing to the table for South Africans that is different from what we have had? And most of South Africans will agree with me that most of the parties who have come, like you, have failed them. So what are you bringing to the table that is different from what South Africans have had before?
Okay, thank you. I think we took 3 questions from SABC, from Daily Sun, News Central. Okay, I will take the first one that asks about UAT affiliating with IPAC. UAT is not affiliated to IPAC directly, but we've got a social partner called Tau Project. It's a charity organization that is taking care of social responsibilities of the community, church and non-church members. They are mainly looking after the orphans, the widows, the destitute, and the sick. Yes, we are the social partner, or Tau Project is our social partner. So the church and UAT, the link is because of Tau Project. The reason for that is mainly because we as UAT like Tau Project's model. Because Tau Project, we have witnessed them doing a lot of good work. They reach all the people that need the assistance in the country. So we want to make sure that through the model that we are aligning with, come 2024 and beyond, being the party of governance, we're going to implement the same, because all the people of South Africa, all the people across the world, the biggest enemy is hunger. The biggest enemy is people need the government that delivers. So if you're talking about IPAC, you're talking about separate entity. If you're talking about Tau Project, you're talking about the separate entity that is attached to the church or is from the church or is for the church. But as UAT, we don't have direct link with the church. We go through Tau Project as a social partner. That is the first question. I'll take that one. I'll let my colleagues handle the rest.
I want to strengthen the point he just made, and my colleague has just made, that UAT is owned by the people on the ground, not the church. Anybody, any person who wants to join UAT is at liberty, and they are free to do that. And even the Constitution of South Africa, section 15 of the Constitution, is strengthened that anybody has got the right to choose any movement of his own choice. So UAT is not IPAC, and there's no direct link with the IPAC. It's just that the member of IPAC, because they like the project, they even like the UAT. And every member of the church, any member of the community is allowed. Like our membership now is everybody, irrespective of church affiliation. They are members of the UAT. Over 600,000 members on record. They are not church members. That is my contribution on this point. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. Let me deal with the question about the means to fight service delivery, poor service delivery. And I'll also conclude with the last question in terms of what you are bringing to the table. I think you remember very well that I've indicated that we'll have a policy and manifesto launch where you'll invite you. So that's the reason why we cannot actually go into detail with these things. But we'll just answer your questions for now because the questions are already on the floor. But we'll invite you to a manifesto launch where we'll be dealing with these issues in detail so that we can have a holistic understanding of what we're actually putting on the table for the betterment of South Africans. Now, the issue of service delivery, amongst others, the issue of service delivery can be addressed by making sure that, number one, you capacitate your state. If you look at what is happening now, everything that is happening, instead of the municipalities coming to the picture and addressing the challenges that are facing community, everything is RFQ, everything is RFP, everything is tender, everything is quotations. And when you look at the processes there, they end up putting their own people that actually provide a very, very poor service. So we want a state that is capacitated. We want a state that can be able to go out to the community and address the challenges that are there. Not everything should be through the tender system. Not everything should be the RFPs and RFQs. So we want a state that will have the muscles to go out there and actually, address the challenges that are there. And what does state capacity mean? One, you get the right people. So you don't want this thing of employing people because you are friends, comrades, you have supported me in the conference, now I must reward you with a director's post, director for infrastructure. And my friend doesn't even know what is a hammer, right? Doesn't even know what is a screwdriver, but is the head of a unit that deals with the infrastructure development. So we will address the state capacity in terms of making sure that the right people are employed, in terms of making sure that we have the right tools, in terms of making sure that the state itself has the equipment and the intelligence to be able to assist. That is amongst others. Amongst others. The issue of governance. You must make sure that there's a proper internal controls. You must make sure that your supply chain process operates in a manner that they are able to select the best candidate to do the job. So state capacity it's a very holistic program that we'll be looking at to ensure that we can actually render the service to the people. And other elements and answers to the question, you'll be able to explain it in detail when you do a manifesto launch and the policy conference. Now, in terms of what we are bringing to the table, look, the truth is very naked. Reality is very naked. I don't want to talk about the economy. I don't want to talk about the economy of this country. I can just pick up one area. The minerals in Sekhukhune alone can change the whole country. Only the minerals in Sekhukhune alone, if you know the area. But go and check the area. Go and check poverty in the area. Go and check hunger in the area. Go and check schools in the area. Go and check the lack of basic services, water in the area. But what the Sekhukhune people see is trucks loading minerals that worth billions and billions, feeding other nations all over the world. We'll actually look at that to say, let the economy of the people benefit the people. Let the resources of this country benefit the people. We are saying that's far no further. I don't want to talk about Mogalakwena. I don't want to talk about other areas. South Africa is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of minerals. But we're one of the poorest. As much as we claim to be a developing country, but when you look at the poverty lines, when you look at youth unemployment stats, I think in the general stats we're sitting around over 70%. So the economy will make sure that we align it in a manner that the people on the ground are able to benefit from the resources that are there. I don't want to talk about our education. We want a pure Afrocentric world-class education. According to the study by World Bank, education of this country is one of the poorest in the world. One of the poorest. It does not produce entrepreneurs, does not produce thinkers, does not produce entrepreneurs. Now, what type of education is that? Where some people are able to sit on big stages and say, let's celebrate because kids pass with only 30%. Now you can imagine having a doctor who is operating you and pass biology with 30%. You can just imagine. Yeah, so around the issue of quality housing, you can look at the houses that have been built. Go and look at them now across all provinces. you will actually realize that this is not pure a good housing. Now, you can look at the work that our strategic partner, our social partner, Dow Project is doing, right, as the program director has actually indicated, to say this is the type of houses that we need for South Africa. Now, I want to talk about rural development and food security. When you look at the support of farmers in this country, I mean, there's no life without agriculture. There's no life without farming. There's no economy without land. There's no economy without agriculture. But the question is, are African farmers supported? Can an African farmer go to FNB or to any bank and say, we want 2 million so as to produce food? So those are the areas that we will actually be looking at. And in conclusion, we'll explain them in detail in the manifesto, when we actually launch our manifesto. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you to us for covering those questions. I think we covered the first 3 questions. And just to add to what Dr. Mabule was saying, according to the Freedom Charter, it says people shall share wealth. So as soon as everybody shares, not only few individuals benefit from our minerals, from everything that we have in the country, South Africa will be a better place. So it's not something new that we bring on board. It's just to say, whatever is available, whatever has been approved in 1956 in Cape Town, let it be implemented, and people of South Africa can benefit. I think we've covered the first 3 questions. Is there any other? I've noticed you there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just one question. What's your position on
On Africa.
Yes, I think the question was not well answered. I just wanted to know if you're open to members of other spiritual denominations to be part of United African Transformation. Hence, I was saying, would you be willing to protect minority spiritual or the groupings from discriminations and the likes?
Let me answer that.
Wait.
Yes.
Do we have any other question? Because we take 3. Go. Okay.
What are you bringing for another voter from another party to think it's time to be part of United African Transformation Party? That is different because all the promises we have had there, the people have had there. But what are you bringing that can make someone to say, oh, I was in the wrong place? Why can't I try?
Okay. We've got 3 questions. You want to? Okay.
Yeah, I want to answer your question, where you ask, what is UAT position about other members of other churches? I captured it correctly? Spiritual denomination.
Buddhism and all these other beliefs, even those that don't even believe, even non-believers, for instance.
We want to emphasize and stress the point that UAT is not for the church. UAT is for the community, members of the community, sharing common vision, who want to address the basic needs at their communities, irrespective of church affiliation. UAT is not for the church, it's for everybody. Like now, our membership, they have joined, irrespective of church denomination or affiliation. We allow for everybody who is sharing the common vision of addressing the basic challenges they are facing at the level, at the community level, at municipality. So the church issue, take it out from UAT. UAT is not for the church, and it's for everybody. That is what I wanted to assure you that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Just before we proceed, because this question came to us, are you satisfied? Are you answered? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take the other questions. You wanted to answer?
Regarding the One Africa, our position on One Africa. We stand for unity of Africans. we stand for unity of Africans because we don't actually appreciate the way Africa was divided. And we don't want to go into that history. You guys understand it better than us. We stand for unity of Africa. We are in South Africa, obviously, as a point of departure. But we stand for unity of Africa. We subscribe to that. We support that for unification of Africa. So as more details, we'll be able to explain to you as in our policy conferences and so on and so forth. But yes, we support one Africa because we understand the pains that Africans suffered when it was actually divided. But we really subscribe to one Africa. Thanks.
Thank you. The last one? Okay. All right. Thank you. Just a follow-up on what my colleague have said here in terms of what do we think of one Africa. I'm sure our name says United Africans Transformation. So when you're talking about Africans, you're not talking about South African people. Everyone that is an African, regardless of which country they're coming from, we are all Africans. UAT is being formatted in South Africa, but we've got bigger goals. That's all I can say as a follow-up to this question. Did we cover all the questions? Was there any other?
No, very well. What can make another voter from another organization to come to join us?
What would make us another voter to come vote for UAT? Myself, I was a voter ourselves, we were voters for another organizations. 30 years later, we haven't seen change in our country. So for other voters that they belong to other organizations, the only thing that we are saying to them is join UAT, support UAT to have change that we have been experiencing in the past 30 years. As Africans, let's unite and transform things together for better life. Let's get it right, South Africans. That's what we can say. Did we cover all the questions? Is there any other?
I think as an addition, I would have loved you to go into details to what my sister had asked. Do you believe in one Africa? Do you also believe that the borders that we currently have are actually fictitious volunteer borders? Are you planning on going about it to have one Africa? I thought you were going to give us some meat.
And also to mention that you mentioned that other political parties, they are using foreigners as a scapegoat and also to seek for votes. Are you also in that position?
Yes, I appreciate the fact that my brother want more meat. I appreciate the fact that you want more meat, but you must understand that the policy conference, the manifesto launch, that's where you'll actually enjoy the meat. You'll enjoy it, my brother. But our position is that we subscribe to One Africa. We subscribe to One Africa, and we're a Pan-Africanist organization. So we cannot say we're a Pan-Africanist organization and start discriminating Africans, on the basis of language, on the basis of, where they come from, and so on and so forth. But if you talk about One Africa in terms of the continent structure, yes, we subscribe to that particular narrative. But in our policy conference, in our manifesto launch, we'll be able to give you more meat with regard to that. Right, and obviously in the country, when you vote, going to my sister's question, there are certain requirements in terms of the IEC. And if you meet the requirements of IEC for you to vote for any political party, we'll actually enjoy that vote. We'll actually enjoy that vote. Yeah. So asking a question whether we are in a plan to get other foreigners just to vote for us, I will say to you, when someone is in this country, he has all the documents, and he qualifies in terms of the IEC regulations to vote for any political party, will actually enjoy it.
Actually, that wasn't my question. My
Okay.
question is, political parties are using the foreigners, like they're saying foreigners must go, foreigners this, as part of their campaigns. Are you also in that position whereby, as a party, you are coming with the foreigner thing to as campaign for your votes?
Foreigner thing in terms of xenophobic
Yes.
attacks and toxins. No, we can't, because that will be the total opposite of what we subscribe to as an organization. We are United African Transformation. We are a Pan-Africanist organization. As much as we have people in this country that are coming from different countries, right? But they are not eligible to vote. But we are not in a position where we're going to use that as some kind of a selling point to South Africans. We don't actually subscribe to that. We don't actually subscribe to that. Yeah, we're not using that particular approach to discriminate the people and harass them to say xenophobic. No, we are United African Transformation. But the point of departure is anyone who is coming from any country in this country, who has the necessary documents, who is eligible to vote in terms of the IEC regulations, if he can vote for the UAT, the hope of the people, the light of the people. But we're not going to take that approach where we actually harass and discriminate Africans on the basis of their nationality and so on. No, we're not going to do that.
Okay, thank you, guys. I think we're at the end of the session. We'd like to once more thank everyone for coming through. And I'm sure this is not the end of the journey. Like my colleagues have mentioned, that we're still going to have policy and manifesto conference. We'll invite you. You'll get more about who we stand and what we are. So, lastly, from the program is the announcement. We are Africans. There is some refreshments to have after this. We will usher you through there. And once more, thank you for the doers. Just one last question. Do you want to take it off the?
Oh, if you don't mind, I can just put it here. As well.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. The departure of Abel Tau, how has it affected the party itself? I remember that he was announced as the leader of UAT, but after some time the marriage broke, amicably. So how has it affected the party itself?
Abel Tau was a member of the United African Transformation. He was never the president of UAT. And him leaving the organization, like any other member, will come and go, hasn't affected the organization. We are still going strong without him. Hence, there's no way in our discussion, even in the briefing, we discuss about him because he's no more with UAT, it's business as usual. We are worried about the people of South Africa. UAT is founded by the people, for the people. So it hasn't affected us at all. And he was never a party leader. He was just a member of UAT. I think we've covered everything. Thank you very much, guys. Let's get it right, and we will meet next time. Thank you for coming. And that concludes the end of our media briefing. We are saying to our doers back at home and fellow South Africans to say, let's go register to vote. Come 2024, UAT is your party of choice. We thank you.